Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at this MYNT3D Pro 3D pen. So yeah, here's some quick sped up demos of what I did with it. And yeah, so today we're gonna do some demos and we're gonna do an unboxing. So this is just me kind of fast forwarding through a few of the things I tested out with it, give you an idea of what you can do with it. So yeah, you can see here it makes some nice solid looking things out of ABS. I believe that's ABS. Anyways, yeah, 3D printing pen. Here it is in the box. We're gonna open this up in a second and show you everything you get with it. You can see the back has a nice little diagram showing you all the buttons and parts and stuff. Also comes with a manual, and you can find instructions online, or just follow what we do in this video. Alright, so here we go, opening the box up. Yeah, there we go, ABS filament. So I was using ABS, and once it hardens, it's actually pretty strong. So you can make some pretty reasonably durable items. And yeah, let's see here. So this is the Pro model, so it's a little bit better than the lower tier models that they offer. And let's see. Yeah, just some manuals. We're mostly going to throw them aside. I think I took a look at them later on. Comes with a power adapter and a USB cable to power it. So pretty standard adapter, pretty standard cable. Well, sort of standard cable. One end is USB and one end only plug. Oh, and here we get a little screwdriver and a tool for opening it for maintenance and stuff. Yeah, and what else? Pull the wrapper off of this, and it's a nice solid tool. So that little sliding thing there is basically what controls the speed that the filament will come out when you press the button. So let's open up the filament. And we can see it comes with 3 colors that we have to choose from. And there's not a ton here, but it's enough that you can do. You can start making things and test it out and do quite a bit of stuff with what they do give you in the box. But if you use this a lot, you're going to end up needing to buy more filament. Just make sure you get the right size and everything. So there's the end where the filament comes out. It gets pretty hot. You get these 2 buttons to make filament go. One pushes the filament out and one will pull it back. Like say if you wanted to remove the filament from the pen. And when you want to write, you'd actually hold the button that causes the filament to come out, obviously. And you have a couple buttons here that adjust temperature. You want to have the temperature set correctly depending on whether you're using ABS or PLA. And one thing to make note of is you're going to want to make sure that you are on a surface that is not going to burn. Well, in my experience, this doesn't get that crazy hot. It's probably not going to start a fire or anything, but I guess it could. This thing I'm pointing out here, yeah, that's the side door on it, it looks like. That's the the speed slider. So move it down that way to go slow, move it up to go faster. When you're putting the filament in, you probably want, when you're first loading it, you want to probably set it to fast so it'll go through, much more quickly. Comes with a nice little LCD screen. You'll see that when we actually get to the part where we demo this and actually power it on and test it out. And this is where the power plugs in. So you get two holes on that end, one for power, one for your filament to go in. So that smaller hole there, your filament will fit right in there. And then you'll feed it in and press the button so that it'll eventually catch and pull it in for you. And then you'll see a little bit come out. We'll see. We'll get to that. All right, so here we're gonna start getting this thing powered on. And we're gonna have to heat it up. It heats up relatively quickly. And there we go. So I actually initially decided to use a wood block instead of this white surface that I had here. Either one would have been fine. I mean, it does get hot. It's hot enough to burn you. Probably not going to start a fire. I mean, definitely wood is fine. And that surface I had there, I figured it might damage it, but it turns out it's not going to damage that either. So it's generally not too big of a deal. But yeah, do watch out for what surface you're building things on. So this is this is the LCD being lit up. And you see it shows the temperature and stuff. So yeah, you are supposed to press the feed button once to start. The feed button you see those two arrow buttons. You press the one that this guy right here that I'm pointing to. Press that once. That should start heating it up. And now you see on this LCD, it actually shows the target temperature and it shows the current temperature. So you see how it heats up pretty quickly. The current temperature is going to heat up to match the target temperature, which in this case is set for ABS. I believe that's going to be 210. 210 should be okay for ABS. You can actually go a little higher for ABS. Probably go slightly lower for PLA. And there we go. It's all already heated up. So we're basically ready to go. You're gonna wanna, so I believe I haven't fed this through yet. So we're gonna try feeding the filament through. So you do have to do a bit of pushing when you first start. And when you're actually initially feeding it through, you want it on the fastest setting, and you might not necessarily want it on the fastest setting when you're actually drawing things with this. Like I found it comes out a little too fast when it's on the fastest setting for actually drawing. But see here, I pushed it through a bit, and I'm trying I'm trying this feed button, and I believe I ended up having to push it through a little bit more. Yeah, make sure that's on the fastest. And I believe you can't quite see. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see in view of the camera. I'm pushing this through a little bit. And there we go. You see a little bit of filament come out the end. So it's starting to work. And there we go. So it's fed through. We know it's ready to go. And so we're ready to start making things. And it's a little bit, it doesn't seem that great at first when you have no idea what you're doing. Once you get a feel for it, it's a lot easier. And once you get some of the basic techniques, it's significantly easier. And see how here it didn't catch it right, and now I try to switch directions and it gets all messed up. So stuff like that will happen, especially when you don't know what you're doing. Now keep in mind here, watching me do all this stuff, this is the first time I've ever done this. I haven't watched a tutorial on other people doing it at this point. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is just my initial testing, having never touched a 3D pen before. This is how it is for me. So see, it dries pretty quick, gives you a solid thing. It looks pretty thin, but for how thin it is, it's pretty strong. Let's see here. So I'm going to keep trying things. Some of them come out better than others. I have a bunch of really messy looking things that didn't come out that well because I'm just kind of testing it out and getting a feel for how it works. But once it gets a lot easier once you get a feel for it. So unlike any 3D printer I've tried, this one actually is pretty close to ready to go out of the box. You just have to, feed the filament in and know what buttons to push and stuff. But the big difference between this and a 3D printer, I guess, would be that this requires actual skill. But with a 3D printer, once it's set up and actually working, besides assembling it and getting the parts to work, it basically prints it for you. This, you have to be able to print it. So if you want to actually move something up, you have to wait for it to kind of cool down and solidify before you can start moving the pen again. So yeah, if you want to actually draw something, if you're drawing something out into the air, you kind of have to let it harden so it'll stay there. And you want to pull it so it's kind of, there's some tension there, let it harden, and then you have like an actual straight line. And unless something's supporting it, it may just sort of bend like that. But you can still connect things and make kind of a wireframe. But if you're trying to do something like this, it's going to come out a little bit messy. You see how that is. Keep in mind, this is me not being very good at this at all. So you can probably make wireframe things like this a little bit better if you have more skill. And the camera is not really giving you that great of an appreciation for, like, you can't really get a good sense of the depth here. So it's just not that great of a shot of what I'm doing. And this is kind of tricky to connect things like this. But as you can see, it does work, and I'm able to make an actual wireframe box. It's a little messy. It's not exactly straight and neat. So if you want serious precision, you either have to be a whole lot more careful, or build things differently, or just use a 3D printer instead of a 3D pen. And there you go. And you'll see, like, the bottom is so much neater than the top. And because the top I'm making it in the air, and I didn't keep those I didn't keep enough tension, so a lot of those are kind of just bending down and looking really, really messy. So with practice, you could do a better job than that. Really, the easier way to do this is to build it up layer at a time if you wanted to build something solid, rather than create a wireframe at first. It's gonna be harder creating a wireframe like that. So we're gonna try something else now. So I'm going to try changing the speed setting also. So we're going to try making another box using a kind of a wireframe. Still not the best way to do it, but we're going to try to come up with like a neater looking box. And you can see the lines are a little bit better now that I kind of have a feel for it. Still not ideal, but a little better. And see how I'm connecting to these? It didn't quite connect to that other thing exactly the way you want. This is why it's kind of a little tricky doing it this way. So it came out messy again, but it's improved. I mean, slightly better technique, but it just didn't connect quite right on that, that third corner. So yeah, let's see how we're gonna. So that was like a medium speed setting, I guess. And here we go, making a circle this time. And we're going to try going over this in multiple layers. And I believe this was the ring that we saw at the beginning of the video. Yeah, I think in this video I only made one of these, cylindrical or circle, whatever items, and this is it. And I think after this is where I made the box. I made like a nicer looking box, but the walls kind of make it look like a bird's nest. But just because of how the layers are and stuff. But yeah, and anything extra that sticks off the side like that, you can just trim it off later. But see how you go nice and slow. So medium speed, nice and slow, slow and steady around the edges. Make sure it connects, and just go layer after layer. Just one layer at a time. Just keep building up the layers, and it actually works out pretty well that way. This is a whole lot less messy, and you have more control of where it goes, rather than building like a wireframe. You just build it layer at a time, and this works pretty well. And look at that. So there we go. You can see it's already hardened, and the sides are stuck together pretty well. I mean, you can't really, you could get a better feel for it if you could actually touch it. But you can see it's like a solid plastic part. So we have like basically a solid plastic ring. So that's kind of neat. It is pretty durable. I mean, it is still, given the thinness, you could still break it, but it's, given the size and the thickness, it's about as durable as you could expect something to be. So we're going to give another shot doing a square this time. And I'm going to try again after messing that one up. Make sure we go nice and steady, not messing anything up here. I guess the real trick is just to not mess something up. And so you'll see there's a lot of stuff sticking off the sides, and we just trim that off afterwards. And if I get a bit more practice with this, I should just be going in one fluid motion across the whole thing. But if you have to stop and you have something stretched out like that, it's no big deal. And see how you can just go back and forth like this. It's not perfectly straight, but you're going to have a hard time getting anything to be perfectly straight with this. You're not going to have the same precision you would get with an FDM 3D printer, and definitely not like you would get with a resin printer or something like that. Everything's basically based on these strands that you can draw with the pen, which So like any demo you've ever seen of this, or like the pictures on the box and stuff, you're going to be able to see the lines that you built it with. It still sticks together pretty solidly, and it works pretty well, but you are going to see the lines unless you were to sort of, paint over it, or like sand it or do something with it. You are going to see the lines that the object you're creating is composed of. But other than that, it's not bad. I mean, it sticks together and works well, but it's not going to be like one solid, smooth, flat piece. See how this looks kind of messy, but we have kind of a defined shape, so you could actually make something with this. So yeah, it's a little lopsided, which I think I could improve if I could just improve my technique. Other than that, it's yeah, we have a nice solid piece kind of forming here. I mean, I don't think you're gonna do a whole lot to get away from that bird's nest looking texture. Looks like a bird's nest, or like a basket or something. All right, so here I think I'm actually going to pull the filament out and change it for a different type of filament. So here you press the feed button, but you're pressing the reverse feed button while you pull on the filament, and you'll notice how I'm slowly getting the filament out, but it's all like marked up and kind of has, yeah, you can see how the end of it's a little bit messed up after being in there. No big deal. So that's pretty easy to get the filament out, and looks like that's it. We're gonna feed some new filament. We're gonna try a different color. So let's give purple a shot. So similar process, we're just gonna sort of press the feed button while pushing the filament in, and it should catch and start pulling it in for you in a bit after you push it in far enough. And there we go. See, it's actually starting to move in now. All right, so now it should be pulling it for me, and we should see the filament coming at the end in any second here. And there we go. So looks like we did have some blue filament still left in there, but the purple filament should push that out of the way, and we're gonna get, there we go. There's our purple filament. So now we're going to keep building this box, but with purple. So we're going to have like a multicolored box. So here we go. We can pretty much just pick up where we left off. And you know, new ABS is going to stick to the old ABS just like it does when you're, you know, creating it. You know, pretty much anytime you make a layer like this, it's hardened by the time you put the next layer on it anyways. This does harden pretty quick, so switching between filaments is no problem at all, and you can make multicolored things relatively easily like this. And look at that. So we're going to make a bottom on this too. So this really is going to end up looking kind of like a basket. We'd be nice to make something with more solid sides, which we could do. We could come back and fill those in later if we want. Yeah, but here I'm going to sort of make like a bottom wall on this. And you got to be careful things don't sort of bend down like that. See how I didn't pull that tight, and that, yeah, that one strand is kind of bent, like it's kind of messed up. And if you're not careful, things can come out pretty messy. But you know, with practice, it gets easier and better. And there we go. We can see we're starting to fill it in. The more layers we get, the more support there is, and now we can just kind of go back and forth and fill the whole thing in. So look at that. Just get that all, you know, blocked up nice and neatly. And there we go. That is basically like a little basket slash box thing, more of a super miniature basket than a box. But there we go. That's something we could build. What is this? I'm just showing what you could. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So if you found this interesting, you know, give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Comments, questions, criticisms. You know, you're probably gonna. Yeah, you could use this thing as like a SD card holder almost. Not much point in that. Yeah, you could see how you could make something better that would work for that purpose. Just kind of ideas here. But yeah, anyways, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon, and yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. So that's just about it for today. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.